friends, now it's time to get started getting this cleaned, getting all of our switches and everything all cleaned up so we can start playing it and have some fun, which is going to be quite a while before we get that far. Okay, for people that are new to these, just take this in small steps. You don't have to just, dive in and start cleaning everything that, well, that's what we're going to do. But just pick one area that you want to start with first. Like the bottom mech, or the bottom of the play field, or the inside of the back box. Just pick one that you want to start with and just start there and only concentrate on working on that. And don't jump around, and clean a little bit here, clean a little bit there, and clean a little bit in the back. Just pick an area and start working there. What I normally do is I start with the bottom mech, because we've got to take the play field out anyway to clean it. So you might as well take the play field out, and then you can pull the bottom mech up out of here and start cleaning it. And then we'll do the back box. Normally I tear these down. We'll get the back glass out of it. We'll get the playing field up out of it. And then I pull the bottom mech to clean them, so I'm not leaning over the pinball machine trying to work down inside of it. It's just so much easier if you can get it up. You get it up out and put it on sawhorses, or you can lay it across the machine here and work on it. Whatever you prefer to do. And it's the same with the playing field. I hate working on these standing up with them. Like this, you're all bent over and kills your neck and your shoulders. So I take the playing field out, and what I'll do is when I go to clean the playing field, I'll lay it back down in the machine, only upside down, so all the mechanisms pointing up, and then you can just stand and work on it. Back box, same thing. You can stand here and clean and work on all these, but you're trying to get up underneath here, and it's just a pain. And pulling out your score reels to clean all of them. I pull the whole panel out, the whole mech panel, whole back box panel, and that way I can lay it down face down on sawhorses or something. And then usually what I do is I make it low enough so I can sit my ass down on my little roller stool and just sit there and work on it. Or same thing, you can bring it up front here and lay it across the pinball machine here and work on it right here. It gives you kind of a working area that you can work with. Like I said, the mech, you can set that up on here and work on it. The playing field, you flip it over and you can lay it down in there and you can work on it. It makes life a lot easier if you're not all hunched over trying to work on stuff. But I always start in the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the playing field, and I'll go ahead and get the back glass out of it so I can stick it over there somewhere where it's safe. These back glasses are easy to pull out on these old Ballys. You slide these two levers back, and there's a little lift bar here that you can lift up and it'll come out. What always irritates me is rattles. So we'll address this one. We'll address that rattle and get that quieted down. I hate when you're playing a machine and you're listening to the door rattle, the back glass rattle. So we'll address that too and get those quieted down so it's a lot nicer when you're playing. You're not shaking the machine a little, and you don't hear that, and the back door bouncing around. So first what we're going to do is we're going to remove this. And the first thing we have to do is remove the playing field. Playing field's easy to remove. You have 3 Jones plugs in the back. You can see them right there. You just unplug those Jones plugs and then you can lift out the whole playing field and put it off to the side where, let's get down here. Put it off to the side where it's not going to get damaged or run into or knocked over. So let's get that playing field up out of there and we'll go from there. And don't let it scare you. It's not as bad as what you think, cleaning these up and getting them working right. There's a lot of stuff to do and it's going to take you a while, so take your time and don't be in any hurry and it'll all come apart easy and it'll all clean up really nice. You just have to take your time and just do it in small sections. And once we get this board up out of here, I'll show you what I mean by small section. Okay, the Jones plugs, they just unplug. All you do is lift them up one end and start, and then in the back, and then they'll come right up out of there. Same thing. God, you can see the corrosion falling off of these. And take your cord here, which is hooked in the back. Okay, and then come around back and see there's a rubber holding your cord for your playing field. It pulls it up out so you don't have any, it holds it up out of the way so it doesn't touch any of your, get caught up in any of your relays. So we'll just get our Jones plug through. Come on. Not good one-handed. Sorry about that. There we go. Now we got our plugs unhooked, and this is our playing field here. And what we'll do is we'll bring this up and kind of hang it up here somewhere. I'll get us a tie and tie that up out of the way. Now I got the back glass out of it, and so now we can inspect and we can see how dirty our reels are. And got the playing field up out of it. Now we're ready to start working on taking out this bottom mech. On the bottom mech, to get it out, first we have to wait for the truck to go by, and then we need to unplug our, let's see, this is our tilt. That's all of our tilt mechanisms, the tilt bob and the runner, which they always take the ball out of that anyway. And this one is the coin door. Unplug the coin door. Now we got to get our chimes out of the way because we have to get down into our power switch. The power switch is hardwired in. On our chimes, the plug is right under our gain counting unit. right there. Now we have to get, oh, God, that's probably the first time in years. A little rough on the finger. Okay, now all we have to do is lift him up out of there. There's just those two wing nuts that hold our chime unit in. Our sound card. This is our sound card. Look at the soot. Okay, and I have to find some other stuff in here. Total plays. Yep, that used to be. You can see where it used to be right there. And there's another label, which is Thumper Bumper Assembly. Okay, now we got to get us a Phillips screwdriver so we can get in here and get our on-off switch up out of there. Now let me find a Phillips screwdriver in amongst my mess. After finding a screwdriver amongst my mess in here. See, we need to tighten that up anyway. And we'll just lay our on-off switch off to the side. Okay, got our plug pulled out from under the back box and cords laying on there. Those are that's the Jones plugs for the back box. Now what we have to do is we have 4 bolts. We have one here, one there, one there, and one there that we need to take out. Now don't think that's the only thing that's holding us down. There are 2 Phillips screws. This one is always right by the transformer. They screw right down into that rib that runs across. Kind of helps you line it up so you have it where it belongs. There's that one, and then there's one always up by this set of relays along that rib there. Now you're ready to take those 4, take them 4 big bolts out of there. Now you can see it's ready to come up out of there. And no, I'm not going to pick that up with one hand and get that up out of there. So I'll get you in the tripod and we'll get that. Well, yeah, I'll get you in the tripod and I'll show you. Okay, now we'll get this up out of here and get her set up on a little cart here so we can work on it. Now you don't have to have it on a cart. You can pick this up and set it right on your pinball machine here and work it over this way. But I'm a little lazy, so I'm going to set it on a cart, and that way I can sit on my stool and work on it. Alright, well, nothing interesting in it. Under it, I should say. Maybe a penny. How old is that penny? 1973. A couple more labels here. Oop. And some stuff that just gets kind of, let's see, ball tilt assembly. We have slingshot assembly and another thumper bumper. And usually what happens is you end up with all this broken stuff that has been worked on and stuff that's was dropped and never found. But this one's not too bad, just needs swept out and be in good shape. And we got our mech here on a little cart. And see, now I can just sit down on my stool and work it over. And I'll get this. Well, now we'll take a look at it and see what we have to do. And now somebody's trying to get a hold of me. Okay, now we're gonna just clean this in small sections. We're not going to jump all over the place. Then you don't know where you're at and what you've cleaned and what you haven't cleaned. So just kind of pick an area. We're going to start right here with these 5 relays. And all we're going to do is we're going to clean each one of these leaf switches. There's 2 different types of leaf switches. There's ones that when the coil is activated, hold on, goes potato picker. When the coil is activated, it sucks it in and closes the switches. And when it releases, the switches open. There's other ones that are closed. Let's see. Like this one right here. Now it's closed, and when the coil is activated, it opens. Then another one, which is like this one right here, it does both. When the coil's at rest, this side is closed here. I hope this looks okay. You can see that side is closed, and when the coil activates, it opens that switch and closes the one on the other side of it. And what you want to do is you don't have to go through and adjust every one of these switches. If you push the coil and that small blade here moves, you know it's touching. All you have to do is clean it. Now what I clean it with is I have a regular file, contact file that I use for cleaning all my contacts. But you can use a small piece of sandpaper or an emery board or whatever, just to get in there and just to clean them up a little bit. You don't want to take material off of them. All you want to do is polish them up so they make good contact. And you'll have, like here we have two sets. We have a set on top and a set underneath. Those ones on the bottom are a little harder to get at, but you take your time, you can get at them, and you have to look at them, make sure that they are moving. When the coil comes in, that both sets of those are, that little blade is moving. You'll get into some where they'll, in the next bank, where you have a whole set on top, you have 3 of them on top and 4 of them on the bottom. Those ones are a little harder to see, but just study them and make sure that when that big blade touches the little blade, it moves, or when it comes off of it, it moves a little bit. You know that the contact is actually connecting, and all you need to do is clean it. You don't need to adjust every one of these. You're just going to run into problems trying to adjust every one of these switches. As long as they're touching, they're working when they're clean. So I'll go ahead and I'll get this set cleaned up, and then we'll move down and start cleaning this whole side. We're just going to take this little bit here, we'll clean these 5 up, and then we'll move down and clean the 2, 4, 6, this bank of 7 here, and then those 2. We're just going to clean this whole side first. That way we know this side is done. Don't worry about nothing else over there. Let's just do these first. Now we got all of our switches, and all of our leaf switches. All of them are done on this side, and all of them are done over there. And our game over interlock is all cleaned. I didn't find anything out of the ordinary. Everything, all the switches look good. They're all moving when they're supposed to move, and they look like they're all closed when they're supposed to be closed, and all open when they're supposed to be open. So I didn't have nothing to video about if running into a problem. Now we're going to work on our score motor. Our score motor, these can be kind of a pain in the butt to clean, because you can't, you know, you can clean the top one here, you can clean the top one here, and you can clean the top one down here. But how do you get in there to clean those switches down in there? You know, you can clean the tops, and some of these you can get the next one down, but you know, you can't get down in here. So how do you get down in there? Well, you can do the best you can and clean them the best you can, or you can do what I do. I'll get you set up right over here, maybe. Okay, where you at? There you are. But you can always figure that this top one is always going to be kind of screwed up because of people pushing the envelope full of your paperwork and schematics and all that, and it's always going to catch this one and open that one up. And if I can move this one just a little bit, and you can tell it's not touching, it's not making contact with the long one here. I don't know if you can tell, but it moves just a little bit before it makes contact with that one, and there's quite a bit of soot, like it's been arcing an awful lot. So that one's always been a little screwed up, and we'll clean him up. We can clean all of these up in this first set. And take our little handy dandy tool here. Okay, now it's touching. Now we need to see if it's opening when it's supposed to open. And now it should be closed. Around. And now it should be open, which it isn't. Okay, I'll just move that up a little bit, and you can see now it's touching when it should. There's a notch in the cam that when the score motor runs around, turns it, it'll come to a spot right there where all of these switches change. You can see which ones are supposed to be open, which ones are supposed to be closed. This first set, you can clean every one of your switches. I like putting just a little bit of counter pressure on them when I'm cleaning them. Okay, that stack's clean. Now how do you get to that little stack? Well, this is what I do. You get to that little stack. I'll take my first stack out. And most of the time these will stay together. Leave the screws in them. You can move your stack out of the way and get to these little ones here. Get to this little stack. Hopefully my head's not in the way. Come on. There we go. And that small stack, when it rolls around, it will close all of them for an instant. You can see, kind of hard to see down in there, but then all you have to do, you take your stack, and make sure they're all straight. Line them all back up. Now the first two are clean. It's just a little bit. Straighten them out just a little bit more. There. Now, this stack down in here, you can't get to it even taking off the big stack. So I'll take the whole stack out. And there's that whole stack right there. You can clean every one of them. Ooh, man, there's some dirty ones in here. Really filthy. You can tell this thing's been sitting for a while. There's a lot of soot on these switches. What's nice about these when you do it this way is you can actually see the contacts. And see how they're coming out. You can get them cleaned up really good this way, instead of trying to weasel in there and with something and trying to clean each one. If they're pretty sooty. Sooty? Is that even a word? They're covered with a lot of soot. You can get them nice and clean like this. And when you put them back down in, you know they're clean. Clean, 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 clean. Okay, so I'll get that stack screwed back down, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'll remove every one of these stacks and clean every one of them switches. And then we'll know, and you can check them too. You can turn your score motor and you can watch each individual one move, and you can see if they're making contact or not. But you know, sometimes looks can be deceiving, so don't be surprised if later on that we have some problems with some of these switches that we have to go back and adjust. These ones are pretty filthy, so hopefully we can get them clean enough. Okay, make sure that stacks nice and straight. There we go. And yes, I'm using a tongue depressor. They work good for a lot of things. Okay, I'll get the rest of these cleaned up and we'll be ready. That our score motor will be ready to go. Got that finished up. Got all of our switches cleaned on the score motor. The score motor is what sends your scores up to your scoring reels. Like if you hit the 500, this will probably there's a 500 reel in here somewhere, and when it turns, it'll click it 5 times, hit a switch 5 times, and it'll send the pulse up to your scoring reel, and it'll give you the 5 points. The score motor does do other things. I need to straighten that one out just a little bit more. The scoring motor does do a lot of other things too, besides just give you your score. They call it the score motor because basically that's what it does. Let's see if we can square that up a little bit better. Yeah, it looks better. Now we have all of our relays done there, done here, and our game over relay is done. Our score motor is done. Now what we have left to do is we have to do our 2-stepper units and clean all of our female Jones plug ends or sockets on both sides, and clean all of our male Jones plug ends and get them all cleaned up. And this will be we still have to replace a fuse holder. I'll see what I have. I may go ahead and replace them all, and that way we have 4 new fuse holders in here, and we know for sure that those are all going to be working properly. What do you want? Big furry kitty pestering me. Okay, so I think this video has been long enough, and in the next video we'll finish up the bottom mech board, get everything all cleaned up and ready to go back in. But I think this has been long enough, and I know a lot of people don't have quite the attention span that some people do, so I may lose people towards the end of this. So like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And stay tuned for episode 3 when we tackle our 2 stepper units and all of our Jones plugs, and replace some fuse holders. And till next time, see ya.